Okay, so let's get started. So first, I want to give everyone a update on what everyone else is doing. So currently for arithmetics, remember the goal for this holiday. You guys have this week and next week, right? Yeah, this week and next week, 2 more weeks only. And you guys are at, so Haley is the highest at 63%. Alvis, you're the second highest.
You haven't shown us.
Oh, right, sorry. I was so sure that I was already showing. Thank you for that. Okay, now that's better. Hi, so Haley is the highest at the moment at 63%, and then Alvis is second, 53%. Mariam, you're on track after a lot of work last week. You're sort of on track now. Okay, so there are a few exercises that I'll go through with you later, but so far so good. Alvis, step up your game a little bit, hey. So okay, this is Alvis's current progress. So as
in the homework there was one that I raged on.
The one that you rage on? Yeah, I'll go through that. Actually, I'll go through the tricky parts from the homework first before I go on to the new concept. But yeah, so Alvis has been proficient with 95. That's actually pretty good. And then mastered 30, not started 74. So remember this number, Alvis, is 74 for you. It's quite a lot.
No, it wasn't there like 93.
Something like that, yeah. But now it has reduced to 74. Okay, so if you want to complete it by this week, you technically need to do 37. 37. Okay, all right. I've only assigned about 20, which is today's content.
I want 30.
Okay, 30. Deal.
7.
37.
Yes.
Okay, I'll add more to that later. But yeah, so Mariam, you only have 57. So this week you technically only need to do you have some that is only familiar and attempted, so you have to redo those ones as practice. And then you need to divide that into 2 weeks, so about 25. Yeah, 25 plus these one, I guess it would be about 30 something. But it would be hopefully a little bit easier for you going forward. And Haley is not here, but that's why I'm recording this for her. But she has the most progress so far. So she's mastered 68. Okay, I think Alvis, you've only mastered 30. Proficient 95, mastered 30, and she's proficient 71, close to yours, but she's mastered more. So in total, she's actually done a lot more. Only four topics that are familiar, and not started 57. So Haley and Mariam, you two will have like the same amount of tasks, but Alvis, you need to do a little bit more to try to catch up. Okay. That's all right, because once we're done with the holiday, the arithmetic work, you'll find that when you go to school, it's quite easy. I hope when you go to school, it will feel pretty easy. So I know that Haley, if you're listening, it should be okay for you, and Alvis should be okay for you too. But Mariam, this holiday work will be worth it, I promise. Okay, just keep working for the next 2 weeks, about the same as last week. I'm happy. Okay, this week do the same as last week, maybe a bit more if you can, and the next week same, and then you see when you go to school, all of the arithmetic stuff is like, oh, it's not too bad anymore. You can do multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and when those things are easy, learning new stuff not too bad. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping for next term. Okay, that's why these 3 weeks will get you guys up to speed.
I prefer school.
You prefer school?
Yes.
Yeah, well, when school starts, the homework from me will reduce. So yes, I guess it will be a bit easier
But
for you
at
guys.
least the week after school starts is my birthday.
The week after school starts?
Yeah.
Is your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. What date is it? Maybe we'll. Is it Tuesday?
No.
Is it on a Tuesday? No.
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, maybe we'll do something next Tuesday. We'll see. So yeah, so that's the progress of everyone. Now let me go through the stuff that everyone struggles a little bit on that is shared. So I think not these ones. This one. Was it this one? 2 digit by 1 digit distributive property. That's the one that you raged on.
No.
No?
Not that one.
Oh, not that one. Which one was it?
When I see it, I'll remember it.
Pretty sure it's the one that you probably spent the most. Is it this one? Multi-step word problem with whole numbers.
Oh my god, how did you know?
Yeah, that's 9 attempts. See, that's 9 attempts and you still only at 75. So probably that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Let's have a look. So it's this one here. Let's see.
I thought you were gonna go through them after I did all the stuff.
After the new stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll go through it after the new stuff. So probably I'll go through with you guys separately. Probably separately. Okay, that's fine then. Let's do the new stuff first. So the new stuff this week will be, let's see, division of fractions and decimal numbers. Okay, so the first one is this one here, dividing unit fractions by whole numbers visually. So, okay, now the thing with these questions, right, is that I don't think you guys even need to worry about this stuff here. Okay.
I don't even know how to do.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't even know how to do this.
Okay. Well, let me see. Is it the same topic as this one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which image shows these ones? So it's these kinds of questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the idea is this: when you put that away first. Oh, hands down. Turn off your tablet. Have a look first. Okay. I'll go through the main concepts and then you can do those questions later. So which image shows 1/5 divided by 3? Divide by 3 means you're splitting it into 3. Okay. So let's say this one here. You see how this one is 3 bars and you split into 3. Okay. Now, if this is 1/5, if this is 1/5, then this one will be the correct answer. But is it 1/5? You gotta see. So in this question here, these whole will be 5, right? Then how many of these big boxes are there? I think there are 5 of those. So this big box is 1/5, and then 1/3 of that is 1/5 divided by 3. So yes, A is the right answer. Okay, this one will be like 5 boxes. Okay, but then it's only divided into 2. So this one is actually 1/5 divided by 2. So that's not the same. Okay, and then let's say this one here, you can't see all of it, but I'm pretty sure it's like 1/2. And then yeah, so this one is just 1/2. This one is actually 1, 2, 3, 4. So each box is 1/4, and this is times by 2. Does it make sense? Yeah. So you gotta find out how many makes up 1. Another example. Let's say this one here, right? So this thing would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That means that the big box, right? That big box there is 1/4, 1/4, right? And then this 1/4 is divided into 3, and that's what it means by 1/4 divided by 3. Now, how do we do fraction divided by a whole number like this? The trick is just to go 1/4 and then change 3 into 3/1. Okay, so you change the number 3 into 3/1, and then divide by a fraction is multiply by the reciprocal, 1/3. Okay, yeah, and that would be 1/12. That makes sense? So in this image, what it's saying is one part here is divided into 4 equal parts, and each part is divided into 3. So how many are there in total? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And each part is divided into 1, 2, and 3. So how many are there in total? 4 times 3, which is 12 parts. Right? There are 12 parts in total. So that's why 1/4 divided by 3 is 1/12. Okay? So that's that topic there. Yeah, you can get started with that a little bit later. So wait, divide unit by fractions. Now, so these questions, you guys will not have any like visual guidance. Just do the step that I said earlier. For example, this one here, that would be 1/2, and then divide by 9/1. Right? So remember, you are making the whole number 9 into 9/1, and then you change that into multiplication. So you see, divide the fraction is multiplied by the reciprocal, right? So that will be 1/18. So remember, when you multiply fractions, you multiply the top together and multiply the denominator together. Okay, so it's 1/18. And continue doing that for the other questions. Next one would be whole number by unit fractions. Let's see visually. Okay. So this is the intuition that if you divide, okay, if you divide a whole number, let's say 4, right? So there are 4 wholes in here, see, 4 wholes, and you divide by 1/, each part is 1/4 of a whole. How many parts are there in total? So in one whole, there will be 4 parts, right? Yeah? And there are 4 wholes in total. So it's in total, how many of the quarter parts are there? 16. Right? That will be 4 of the quarters, and then there's 4 of those. So that will be 16 in total. 16 of the 1/4 parts. Now, so that's the intuition behind it. If it doesn't make sense, well, you can just simply do the thing that I said earlier, where divide by a fraction is Alvis times by
Reciprocal.
reciprocal. That's right, 4/1. When you multiply a whole number into a fraction, you only multiply the top of it together. So that would be 16/1, which is 16. Make sense? Yeah, so that's what dividing by a fraction is about. You can just simply do this division. You don't actually need to go through like the images and stuff. So it will be this kind of question here. You see, 2 divided by 1/9 is 2 times by Mariam. The reciprocal, which is
1, 9, 9/1.
yes, 9/1, and this will be 18/1, which is 18. Okay, so it will be 18. All right.
So couldn't you just take the two numbers, like 9 and 2, and then just times them together?
Yes and no. So yes in this question, but not for every single question. So in this question, you can do that. Let me show you the next question.
It's because it only has a 1.
That's right, because it has a 1. So let me show you this. Fractions by whole numbers.
You can do it, but if there is no 1.
Yes. So for example, these questions here, you can't exactly do the multiplication straight away. This one, you will need to write it as 5 is the same. Divide by 3/4 is times by 4/3. Right? So then the top will multiply together. The whole number multiplies to the top, so that will be 20/3. Okay? So you see, Miriam, you can't just take 5 times 4, right? You have to flip the other fraction around. This one becomes 4/3, and then you times it in. So another example is this one here. 8 is 8. Divide by that is times by 7/5. And then you would multiply 8 by 7 is 56/5. So Miriam, no calculator for this question. Same with you, Alvis.
I don't need it for this.
Okay, yeah, I don't think you need it for this one. But yeah, so then this one, 2 times 5/6, same thing. Sorry, 2 divided by 5/6 is 2 times 6/5, and same process, times the top together. Okay, Miriam, any question? No? Okay, so that'll be 12/5. So these questions should be simple, but make sure you do them accurately. So divide by whole number, let's see. The next one I want to go through is, okay, decimals. Yeah, you have to do mixed numbers. Divide mixed numbers. No,
So
I don't
the
think
one,
so.
so can I go back to answer?
Are you confident with multiplying decimals?
Yes.
Like these ones?
Yes.
Okay, you can get started. Okay, but Miriam, so I'll continue going through these ones. Actually, Miriam, are you confident with these ones? No? So for these questions, right, just multiply the numbers only. So for example, 8 and 2. Okay, so you do 8 times 2, which is 16.
So for the other one, you'd go, the one next to it, you go 4 and 9.
Yep. So that would be 36, but because there's one decimal digit, you got to move the decimal place 1 over. So the answer is 1.6. Yeah? So you just times the whole number only, and then you count how many decimal digits are there, and then you move it. Right? So for example, this one, 3 times 6 is 18, and there's one decimal digit, so that will be 1.8 instead. Yeah? Not too bad, right? So when you multiply like single digit, it's actually not too difficult. Like 0.9 times 9, 9 by 9 is 81, one decimal place, so 8.1. Yeah, okay. Now this one though, 3 times 25, if you were to work it out here, 3 by 25 would be 75, right? Yeah, and how many decimal places? 2, which means that there will be 2 decimal places, so it will be 0.75. Does it make sense? Yeah? Okay. So yeah, so that's multiplying decimal numbers, not too difficult. Whole numbers and decimals, yeah. So these ones, you just need to do the multiplication first. Alright, no calculator, remember Alvis, in today's lesson, no calculator.
I didn't.
You sure? Okay. Okay, good, keep going. Anyway, so this one, Miriam, will be 362 times 14. Alright, so do that first. Ignore the decimal place. You can put the decimal place in if you want, just to remind yourself how many there are, but you can work it out as per usual. So 4 by 2 is 8, 4 by 6 is 24, carry 2, 4 by 3 is 12, that'll be 14. right? And that would be 263. Okay, add them up, 8605. So 5608, how many decimal places? 1, so that's 506.8. Okay? Yeah, just multiply it, move the decimal place after. Alright, not too difficult. Next, multiplying decimals. Okay, I'll go through these ones here. Multiplying decimal strategy. Whole numbers and decimals less than 1. Decimals represent decimal representation. Okay, this one here. Alright. Okay, so this is using the area model. So this is the idea of like splitting the area model into two parts. So this is 1 unit, right? So that's 1 unit. This is 1 unit, and therefore it's split. When it's split into 10 parts, each part here is 1/10. Yeah, it's 1/10. 1/10, which is also 0.1, right? Because 10 of those make up 1 whole, right? So that's why they're saying the entire figure is 1 whole. That's why this is 3/10, right? Because that's three little units there. So that's 3/10 or 0.3, and this is 7/10, which means this would be 0.7, right? So this represents 0.2 times 0.7. And how many tenths are there? Well, it's actually just 3 by 7, which is 21 tenths. Or, or 0.21. 21 hundredths actually. Or 2 tenths and 1 hundredth. It's a bit weird to say, but the idea is that if you, so this is just 0.3 times 0.7, and you can work it out. You can work it out normally. Sorry, 0.3 times 0.7. Do 3 times 7, which is 21, right? And then how many decimal digits? 2. So it will be 2 decimal digits. So that will be 0.21, right? So if you look at the other answer, this one doesn't make sense. Let's say this one here. 0.3 times 0.7. If it's 0 point something, and then it's 0 point something of a 0 point something, you can't get 2 wholes, right? Because this whole block is 1 whole. 2 wholes is like that much. And 0.3 times 0.7 is only this much here. Right? That's not even 1 whole. Yeah, so it should be 0 point something. So it's actually 0.21. Alright, does it make sense?
Yeah.
So just remember, if you're in doubt, just remember when you see these ones, 1 whole block represents 1. So 3 units here is 3/10 or 0.3. 7 units here is 7/10 or 0.7. Right? And so you find the one that says 0.3 times 0.7, which is this one and that one. Now, which answer is the correct answer? When you work it out, 0.3 times 0.7 is 3 times 7 is 21, and then 2 decimal places, so it's 0.21, which means A is the correct answer. Right?
Yes.
Okay? So it will be the same for, I'll show you some of the harder ones. Let's say this one here. What multiplication expression could the area model above represent? So this one here is saying that what they're doing is they're splitting up the number. Let's say 2.7 into 2 and 0.7. Right? So together this is 2.7. And when you multiply that by 40 and 5, which is 45, right? This is how you can break it down using the area model. Okay, so the answer would be 2.7 times 45. So the answer will be this one here. All right, this is the representation of this area model. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let me see if I can find a Okay, let's say this one here. Each last square is 1 whole. So they're saying that one of this is 47 hundredths. Right? And what does that mean? 47 hundredths is 0.47. Right? That's 47 hundredths. Right? And then when you multiply that, so how many are there? There's 1, 2, 3, and 4 of those. So this is representing 0.47 times by 4, which is this one here. Okay? Does it make sense? So they're saying, so when they say 47 hundredths like that, sorry, when they say 4700 like this, it means this section here. Right? That section there is 0.47, and each of them is equal. Right? So they just alternate the color from blue to yellow. You can count it more easily. But essentially, that's 4700. This is 4700, and then this thing is 4700, and then the last bit is also 4700. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 4700. So that model represents 4 times, right? 4 times 4700, which is about 1.88. So that's one hole on the left, right? So that would be one hole on the left and about 0.88. So 88 hundredths on the right hand side. Okay, does that make sense? No? Okay. It's a bit weird, right? Okay, let me go through one more example. Let's say this one here. So each, let me see if I can use a different pen. It could be a bit hard to see. Okay, I'll shade this one here. Okay, the part I've shaded represents 4600. And what's 4600 as a decimal number? Right, 0.46. Right, does it make sense?
Yeah.
The place value, yeah? This is the tenths, this is the hundreds. So 46 hundredths means 0.46, or 46 of the 100ths. Right, so when you do 46 times that is the same as 0.46. Okay, so 4600, and then how many of those are there? That's the part I shaded is 1. I'm going to shade the next 4600, which is this one here. So that's 2, right? And then the last bit on the right hand side here is also 4600. Right, so this one is also 4600. Right, so there are how many 4600s? 3. Which means the total area, okay, the total area here is 4600. Oops, change that color. Which is 4600, 0.46 times by 3. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? And then you can just multiply it. So 3 times 4600, and if you see the answer is the same, then must be this one. Okay? If you were to actually do the multiplication, 0.46 times 3, 3 times 6 is 18. Carry 1, 3 times 4 is, that'll be 13. And then 2 decimal places, so 1.38. See, it is 1.38. Okay? So that's just asking you to see the representation of the multiplication using the area model. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's just a little bit tricky, but if you do, I think if you do a few questions, it'll make more sense. Okay. Multiplying decimal. So this one is actually easier to do. So that they're saying is 73 times 274. They give you the answer, right? And then we have to use that to find 7.3 times 27.4. So remember I said earlier, it's just multiply the number without the decimal. So they already gave you the answer, and they ask you, okay, if it's 7.3 and 27.4, what would the answer be then? Now look at the decimal digits. How many are there?
What?
How many decimal digits are there? Right, because you multiply the whole numbers first. Okay, and they already give you the answer. Alright, the whole number multiplication is 20002. But if it's a decimal, so this one would be 1 and 2 decimal digit, which means the answer must be, instead of 2002, it will be 200.02. Because there must be 2 decimal digits. Okay? Okay, I'll give you another example. 4.5 times 81.1. They already gave us the whole number answer is this. 36495, right? Now we need to think about the decimal digits. So that the decimal place is here, which means that's one decimal digit, that's 2 decimal digits. So what would the answer be? A, B, C, or D? What do you think? Right, 2 decimal digits.
D. Wait, what? No. C.
C, yes, it will be C, right? Because 2 decimal digits, 364.95. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, this one is the same, right? We're doing 9.23 times 2.6, right? 9.23 times 2.6, and we know that the number is already that.
Can you help me with this?
I literally just went through that.
Please.
So,
I really ask for help.
skip that. I'll get to that in a second.
Oh, it's my 7th question. It's my last.
So you find, okay, one sec. Let me explain something to you. Okay, all right. So yes, so this one, the number answer will be, they're all the same, right? It's just like which one is the right decimal digit. So Mariam, which answer would be the right answer here?
C.
Why C?
Would it be B?
Why B?
Because there's 3.
Yes, because there are 3 decimal digits. 1, 2, 3. So yes, there must be 3 decimal digits. The answer is B.
But then isn't it right?
Yeah, it is. So you see, does it make sense now? They give you the number. They ask you where is the decimal place.
Yes.
Yeah. So you just gotta count the number of decimal digits, and then 3 means 3 decimal digits. So the answer is B. Because only B has 3 decimal digits. This one only has 2. This one only has 1. Right? Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, and these questions, just pay attention to the decimal digits. So for example, this one here, so they already give you the answer, right? Just count the decimal digit. This expression would be 1, 2, 3. So that must be this part here, right? So this expression would relate to that product there, and so on and so forth. Just counting decimal digits. Okay, not too bad. So that's multiplying decimals, and then next is multiply decimal tenths. Let me see. Oh yeah, so this one's actually really easy. Okay, if it's simple tenths, it's actually really easy. For example, let's say this one here. You're just doing 2 times 3, which is 6. And how many decimal digits?
2.
2, right? So 1, 2, the answer is 0.06. Right? It can't just be 0.6 because that's only 1 decimal place. So that's wrong. It must be 0.06. 0.06. Yeah, that's it. Okay, it's not too bad. Yeah. So that's just multiplying decimal tenths, and then multiplying decimals, 1 and 2 digit factors, same thing. All right, just multiply and then count the decimal place, put it back in. Okay, standard stuff, and same with this one here. Okay, so next is divide to get a decimal. 1 digit divisor. Okay, this one. All right, divide to get a decimal. I think this might be your weakness, Mariam, because this one is about long division. This one is about long division, so I'll show you. Alvis, do you know how to divide to get decimal using long division?
Yeah.
Are you confident?
Yeah.
You want to have a look at one example, just to recall, yeah, and then you can continue. So I'll show you one. No? Are you sure? Right, see if you can do it. So let's say 5 divided by 2. So you go 5 divide by, remember you right to left, 5 divided by 2. Now you find the number that multiplies to 2, get closest to 5. And that answer is 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. You need to go to a decimal. So when you subtract it, the remainder is 1. You need to borrow a 0 and you put a decimal place.
So 2.5.
So 2.5, yes.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, then you're fine. Keep going. Okay, so the answer is 2.5. Does it make sense? Okay, one more example. 7 divided by 2. 7 divided by 2. What's the closest multiple of 2? What's the multiple of 2 that's closest to 7? 2, 4, 6, 8. 6, correct. And how do you get 6? Times 2 by?
3.
3, yes. So you see the relationship? 3 times 2 gives you the number closest to 7. Right? And then you do the subtraction, 1. Now, if you need to borrow the first 0, you put the decimal place. Okay? And then 10, how many, the closest, how many 2 goes into 10? 5. And 5 times 2 is just 10. So you subtract that, remainder 0. So the answer is 3.5. Alright, make sense?
Yes.
Want another example? Do you need another example?
No.
Okay, alright, I'll go through a harder one then. Okay, let's say this one, these ones here. Okay, let's say these ones here. Divide expression answer as a decimal. So 15 divided by 6. Multiples of 6 closest to 15. How many 6 goes into 15? Or closest to 15?
12.
It will be 12, yes. And how many 6s gets you 12?
1.
2.
2.
Okay, 2 times, yeah. So 2 times 6 is 12. Do the subtraction, that will be 3. And then we start borrowing, right? If we borrow a 0, put a decimal place. When you borrow the first 0, you put a decimal place. After that, you can keep borrowing without the decimal place. Alright, and then 30, how many 6 goes into 30?
2. Wait, what? 5.
Yeah, 5 times 6 is 30. So you subtract that, you get remainder 0. So the answer is 2.5. Okay, so Miriam, I think you should probably do this one first. I think that's your weakest topic. So do this one first, so I can help you if you run into any issues here. The other multiplication should be okay. Okay, so another example, 51 divided by 6. Okay, how many 6 goes to 51? The closest multiple is 48. How do we get 48? 8 times 6 is 48. Okay, subtract that, that will be 3. Same thing, borrow 0, put the decimal place, 30, that's 5 times 6 is 30. Subtract that, you get 0. Okay, so the answer is 8.5. Okay? Okay. Next, these ones, okay, these ones are quite tricky. Let me show this one.
Oh yeah, later can you check how many percent I did?
Yes, I can. Alright, so 9 divided by 15. 9 is divided by 15. How many 15 can go into 9? 0. Right? 15 is bigger than 9. So you put 0 times 15 is 0, and then that will be remainder 9. So now we need to start borrowing. And when you borrow, you put the decimal place. Okay, so this is the tricky part where the number is actually initially already bigger, so it should be 0 point something, because it makes sense, because 9 divided by 15, 9 over 15, this is less than 1, right? Because the top is divided by a bigger number, so it's going to be less than 1, 0 point something. Okay, so it makes sense that it's 0 point something. And then how many 15 goes into 90? Well, that's 6. 6 times, well, if you don't know what it is, you need to just test it out, right? 5 times 15, 5 times 5, 25, that's 2, 5 to 1, 75. Not quite right. 15 times 6 would be 6 times 5 is 0, 6 times carries 3, 6 times 1 is 6, so that'll be 90. That is 90. So 0.6 times 15 gets you 90, subtract getting 0. So the answer is 0.6. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. I'll teach you another technique. See this one there? 4 divided by 16. Write it as 4 over 16. When you see a fraction like that, what do you think?
Division.
Division, but before you divide, there's something you can do with the fraction. So with S.
Simplify.
Simplify, that's right. What number can you simplify this fraction by?
2.
2, yes. Divide 4 by 2 is 2, right?
Yeah.
And then divide 16 by 2 is half of 16. So what number times 2 equals 16? Division is definitely your weakest at the moment. Yeah, 2 times what is 16? Alright, moving on, just a few more explanations from me. divide decimals by whole number, don't need to worry about dividing this visually. Just do the actual division. So when you're dividing decimals by whole numbers, you can just do the normal division. So, let me think. So these questions, you can technically work through them, but okay. Alvis, how confident are you with dividing decimals by whole numbers? How confident are you?
Very confident.
Okay. All right.
Wait, are you free? Can you check my progress?
Let's see. Actually, no, not yet. I'll go through a few more topics first. All right. So if you go, we'll go to 0.96 divided by 6. You can technically. So remember, this is 96. When you divide by whole number, think of this as 96 hundredths. Right. So it's 96 hundredths with th. Okay, and we can just do 96 divided by 6. So that would be 1 times 6 is 6, subtract that would be 3, 36, 6 times 6 is 36, would be that 0. Okay, so 96 divided by 6 equals 16. So 96 hundredths divided by 6 is 16 hundredths, which is 0.16. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And let's say if we have so 0.5, let's say 0.5 divide, actually let's say this one, 0.88 divided by 2. So this, again, this is 88 hundredths, right? 88 hundredths when you divide it by 2 is, when you divide that by 2 would be 44, right? Because 88 divided by 2 is 44. 44 times 2 is 88. Do you see that? 44 times 2 is 8, right? Yeah, so that's why 88 divided by 2 is 44. So the unit is 100, so that will be 44 hundredths, which means it is, as a decimal, 0.44. Right? So this is what they're saying with these area models here. Now this one, right, 0.5 divided by 2. So instead of using 0.5, because 5 is not divisible by 2. So instead of saying 5 tenths, I'm changing that into 50 hundredths. Does that make sense? Okay, 5 tenths, so 0.5 is the same as 0.50, right? Yeah, and this one is 5 tenths, 5 times 0.1, and it is the same as 50 times 0.01. Okay, as a decimal number, they are the same. So 5 tenths is the same as 50 hundredths. So now I'll take 50 hundredths and I divide that by 2. So 50 hundredths divided by 2 is 25 hundredths. I'm just using a short form. 25 hundredths is as a decimal number, Miriam?
0.25.
Yeah, 0.25. 25 hundredths. Okay, make sense? Yeah, so that's how you can do these models here. Now this one is a little bit easier. This one is 6 tenths. Alright, 6 tenths divided by 3 is 2 tenths. Right? Now 6 divided by 3 is 2. What's 2 tenths as a decimal?
2 tenths.
2 tenths. A tenth is 0.1.
So 0.2.
Yes, 0.2. It's just 0.2. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can just think of it as in terms of like the place value. If you can't, you have to go up to another place value to the right hand side. If you need to. So these questions could be a bit tricky. It's getting a little bit harder now. Oh yeah, this is essentially what I was just saying earlier. So 8.8 divided by 4 is 88 tenths, right? And then you divide it by 4 is 22 tenths. and 22 tenths is 0. Actually, no. I think this one has an error. So 88 tenths divided by 4 is 22 tenths, which is correct, but 22 tenths is not 0.22 because this one is wrong. This one means that it is 22 hundredths. Right? Because 0.22 is 22 times by 0.01. Alright, so it's 2200. So step 3 is wrong. So that's why the answer is C. 22 tenths should be 2.2. Okay, that makes sense? So yeah, so this one is just like the idea that I said earlier, but using the decimal place. So 1.86 is 1/86 hundredths, which is correct, right? Because that digit there is the hundredths. Okay, so 1/86 hundredths divided by 2, it is 93 hundredths, and is it 9.3? It is not 9.3. What is 92 hundredths? Alright, 93 hundredths is 93 times 100, which is what? 0.01. So this should be 0.93. Does it make sense? It's quite a bit of stuff in here.
Yes and no.
Yes and no? Okay, that means most likely it's a no. Okay, let me give you a my own explanation of this thing. Okay, so remember 1 whole, right, is the same as 10 tenths, right? So 10 tenths is 10 times 0.1, right? And when you work it out, 10 times 0.1 is essentially just 10, but then there's one decimal place, so it's just 1.0, right? So 10 tenths is essentially 1.0. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? So that is why, let's say 32, therefore 32 tenths, right, is the same as 32 times 0.1. When you times by 0.1, you're just moving the decimal place 1 to the left. So that would be 3.2. So that's why 32 tenths is 3.2. Right? Yeah? And that's why if you have 98 tenths, for example, this one would be 9.8 as a decimal number. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? But then if you have 98 hundredths, right? This is 98 times by 0.01. Because a hundredths is 0.01. Okay? And when you times by 0.01, you move the decimal place how many times? 2 times. So this should be 0.98. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah? So that's the difference between tenths and hundredths. Right? So now, if we were to go back to this one here, let's say, okay, let's just work through this one here. 8.4 divided by 7. So 8.4 is what? 84 tenths or hundredths? Tenths. Yes, 84 tenths. And when you divide by 7, what's 84 divided by 7? Wow, you need to do the long division. So this is really good practice for long division. I think that's the weakest part. If you get one right, the math will be a lot easier. Okay? So 84 divided by 7, how many 7 goes into 8? 1. Which gives you 7. And then you subtract that, you get 1. Right? And then you drop the 4. How many 7 goes into 14?
2.
2. Which is exactly 14. Subtract that, you get 0. Which means it's 12. But remember, it's 84 tenths divided by 7 is 12 tenths. So what's the answer?
Boy,
Yes?
I have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I finished all.
All of them? What? Really? No calculator. Okay, good. Not even halfway through the lesson yet. Okay, very good.
The proof is all.
The proof is all there. Good. You can take a very short break. I'll get to you in a second. This is the very last topic anyway. So 12/10 would be 1.2. Right, that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's actually about it. Yeah, that's about all I needed to explain. So for you, get started with the division chapter first. Okay? And Haley, if you're listening to this recording, please get to your task as well. The question I just went through, Alvis literally just finished everything at this point of the recording, so I need to give him more. Right, good luck, Haley.